We're gonna kill every last one of you.
I want your stories. And I want your songs.
You will taste the sweet pain of death.
In the opening of the film, we meet a boy named Sammy, who approaches a church with bloodstains on his shirt and a broken guitar. As soon as the pastor of the church, Jedediah, sees him, he greets him and attempts to pray to God for his son's sins, believing that Sammy has committed sins that have led to his current situation. The picture switches to a day earlier, where we see a cotton plantation and learn that Sammy and his family work there. We observe him looking at the sunset and cotton fields, dreaming of growing up and living a different life. We see two brothers, Smoke and Stack, returning to their birthplace of Clarksdale, Mississippi, after spending time in Chicago. They've made a lot of money working for the mob there, so they make an agreement with a local Clarksdale landowner named Hogwood to buy an abandoned sawmill and transform it into a juke bar. The two brothers tell Hogwood that they are prepared to protect their land from the Klan if necessary, but the old man believes they are overreacting. With preparations to open the juke joint that evening, the twins pay a visit to their uncle Jedediah and recruit his son Sammy to play guitar at the establishment. During the ride, Sammy asks the brothers about life in Chicago, to which they respond that it is similar to Mississippi but with larger structures. This disturbs Sammy because he had great hopes for that city and had long wanted to visit. At the end of the journey, the trio recovers a truck full of Irish beer and Italian wine, which they had stolen and hidden before meeting Sammy. This demonstrates that the brothers had already committed the sin of stealing from others. Smoke expresses a desire to open the joint the following week due to the amount of preparation required, but Stack urges that they must open it that night, citing the fact that such a lovely day is excellent for people to gather and enjoy. Smoke agrees, so they split up to save time, with Smoke going to the city to buy basics and Stack and Sammy tasked with recruiting individuals to play music and finding a doorman for the establishment. Stack takes the car and Sammy. During the voyage, Sammy performs a song for his cousin, and Stack is very impressed with his skill. When Sammy asks him about his childhood, Stack discloses that his father used to beat him mercilessly for no reason. One day, his father knocked him out, but when he awoke, he saw Smoke bearing his father's body. Their journey leads them to the local train station, where they recruit local musician Delta Slim. During this time, Sammy becomes intrigued by a married woman named Perline, whom he invites to the joint. When Stack's old lover Mary approaches him, he finds himself in a difficult situation. Despite being married, she admits that she still has feelings for him and expresses her sadness because Stack ghosted her without explanation and never returned. Stack displays no remorse and instead wants her to go, but when Mary informs him about her mother's death, he is stunned. Following these occurrences, the three guys head out into the cotton fields to get a man named Cornbread to serve as their doorman for the evening. He initially declines his services, but after some encouragement from his wife, he accepts to undertake the task. Meanwhile, Smoke drives the truck into town, where he strikes a deal with local Chinese grocers Grace and Bo Chow to provide food and paint a sign for the juke club. He then pays a visit to his estranged lover, Annie. After paying his respects to their departed daughter, he returns Annie's mojo bag, which she gave him years ago as protection. After performing some hoodoo to boost its defensive charms, Smoke invites Annie to the place to help at the bar and fry up some catfish. She initially denies, but after Smoke tells her about his thoughts, she eventually accepts, and the two enjoy a romantic moment before departing. The picture turns to a man named Remick, whose skin appears to be burning, and he rushes into the shadow of a small cabin. Married couple Bert and Joan open it, astonished to see a man claiming to be hunted by Indians. The couple is armed and skeptical of the man, but when he offers them gold in exchange for sanctuary, they eventually agree. The pair hides the man, and Joan drives away a gang of Indians at gunpoint. When they depart, she returns upstairs and is shocked to see her husband laying motionless on the floor with Remick smiling wickedly. His eyes were bright red and his teeth were scary. She discovers that Remick has transformed her husband Bert into a vampire, and after a few moments, he is back up on his feet, smiling wickedly like Remick. She let out a loud yell and soon shares his fate. We understand that the sun has fallen, and as vampires, the trio will become stronger. Finally, the juke joint is officially open for business. However, things rapidly become tense when the brothers quarrel about some individuals paying with plantation tokens, which can only be accepted at stores owned by the local cotton plantation, which Smoke soon thinks will cut substantially into their projected profits. We notice people arriving to the joint, including Perline, which makes Sammy happy. The two begin talking, and we notice that the establishment is becoming more crowded with people having beverages. When Mary arrives, things become much more heated. Stack asks her to leave, but she refuses, stating that she wants to remain with her family and friends. Sammy decides to impress Perline, and he soon has the opportunity to sing for her while Slim plays a song. The song is so full of life that it appears to transcend time, and what Sammy is playing resonates with every soul in the juke joint. Following the performance, Remick, Bert, and Joan appear at the front entrance of the establishment, seeking to enter and join the celebration. They claim to want to play music for the audience and are willing to pay, but Smoke believes they are going to make disturbance and refuses to let them in. We learn here that vampires cannot enter another person's property unless they are invited. After the concert, Sammy and Perline lock themselves in the room and make passionate love. Stack summons him, but when he hears moans from inside the room, he realizes what is going on and does not bother them. The scene turns to Smoke confiding in Stack about their financial issues, informing him that purchasing the sawmill has put them in a difficult predicament, and they would run out of free cash in 2 months unless the joint succeeds. Stack informs Mary about his and Smoke's financial position. Stack expresses his displeasure, but Mary insists on collecting the money from them to assist Stack and Smoke. He hands her a gun after noticing her resistance. Mary goes to talk to the three who haven't traveled far. They show her some weird gold coins, but when Remick exposes who he is, she becomes scared and pulls out her revolver. She requests that they leave the venue and returns to the joint, but Remick transforms her into a vampire. Mary subsequently goes to the establishment and requests that Cornbread allow her inside, to which Cornbread, unknowingly, agrees. She then seduces Stack with a dance before leading him into a side room. They begin to make love, and despite seeing her slobber, Stack does not resist. She instantly bites his neck, causing him to bleed out. Smoke calls Stack for some work-related concerns, but when he doesn't get a response, he goes to the room and opens the door. He is surprised to see himself laying in a pool of blood with Mary biting his neck. He quickly draws his weapons and shoots at her. She collapses on the ground but quickly recovers. She smiles and with shining eyes glances at Smoke, threatening him that she and her new pals will kill everyone at the venue before laughingly fleeing the place. Smoke tries to save his brother, but Stack's wounds are too severe and he dies within a few moments. Following these occurrences, they lock Stack's body in the storage room and halt the festivities, directing the visitors to depart. Everyone leaves the venue without realizing the danger that awaits. Grace insists on going home, and Bo Chow sets out to start his family's automobile. During this moment, Slim took over door duties from Cornbread, who walked outside to take a leak. While taking a leak, he is startled by distant murmurs. We understand he fell into the vampire's traps and was effectively tracked down. Cornbread reappears soon after, but this time he requests entry. The others find this unusual conduct and refuse. When Cornbread begs for his payment, Smoke passes it through the open doorway. Cornbread grabs his hand and tries to bite, but Smoke shoots him before he can. Seeing him still moving, those inside the joint lock the front entrance. Stack's voice emerges from the storeroom, requesting to be let out. Annie cautions. Smoke tries not to, but Stack smashes through the door. She then scalds Stack with garlic-infused water, sending him fleeing out the front door. Given the gravity of the situation, they seek Annie's assistance, and she instructs them to gather garlic, wood and silver. She adds that, while she had never encountered such monsters, she had heard legends about them. She informs the group that they must wait until sunrise since vampires cannot come out during the day and will burn to death. It is soon discovered that Remick has converted all of those who left the joint some time ago, including Bo, into vampires. Remick claims that he is mostly there to claim Sammy, and that his musical abilities may help him connect with something he has been looking for. He also tries to lure the others by stating that becoming vampires will provide them with a connection and a sense of belonging that they lack in the living world. Smoke is adamant that those inside will not hand over Sammy, and Grace becomes concerned when her transformed husband implies he is willing to turn over their daughter Lisa. Following the discussion, Smoke feels that if they kill Remick, everyone, including Stack, will be rescued. However, Annie explains that it does not operate in that way. Anyone who has been turned must be murdered with sunlight or a stake through the heart. The idea is to hold out until daylight, but Remick and his men start making terrifying noises, prompting Grace to snap and demand they come in and get them. Those within do their best to repel the vampires, but Grace, Perline and Annie are eventually taken down. Before Annie can be converted, Slim makes the brave decision to sacrifice himself so Smoke and Sammy can escape, only to be challenged by Remick and Stack later. Smoke tries to deal with his brother, as Remick follows Sammy outdoors, seeking to turn him. Sammy does everything he can to fend off the terrible beast, eventually breaking his guitar over Remick's head, with a silver chunk cutting into his brain. This leads all of the other vampires to scream in pain, and we realize that the beasts have a physical connection. On the other hand, Smoke and Stack's combat continues. Although Stack is a vampire, Smoke, a seasoned soldier, utilizes his abilities to outmaneuver his brother and keep a wooden stake near his heart. Just as Remick was about to murder Sammy, Smoke appears and stakes him, forcing him to vanish in a pillar of fire. Sammy and Smoke have survived till daylight, seeing the rest of the vampires burst into flames all around them. Smoke gives Sammy his brother's car and tells him to leave town before removing equipment from his truck. Remick had said that Brett was the son of the local clan head, who is actually Hogwood, and Smoke is confident that Hogwood and his troops will show there. Smoke prepares himself by pulling out his machine gun. His suspicions are confirmed when Hogwood arrives with numerous men, eager to stir trouble. After removing Annie's mojo bag, Smoke ambushes them, killing the men but getting shot mortally in the process. Smoke sees Annie and their baby shortly before dying. During this period, Sammy comes to his family's church, where his father, seeing his bruised and damaged state, pushes him to give up his love of the blues. Instead, Sammy drives away in his brother's car, clutching the remnants of his guitar in one hand. Time passes, and it is discovered that Sammy has become a well-known blues musician. Please like, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to check out for more interesting movies. Thanks for watching.